SM presents Time Out with Coach.
Time out.
This session is about team. Let me give you some names. Vince Lombardi, Eddie Robinson, Bear Bryant, John Wooden, Pat Summitt, Bobby Bowden. Now, if you're a sports fan, you know what these names mean. These were great coaches. Each one excelled in their field, but they were great coaches because they built great teams. Coaches are measured by the teams that they produce. Not the stars, but the teams. So it is with all leaders. The ultimate measure of any leader will be the success of his or her team. A team is more than a collection of people. It's two or more acting as one. There are all kinds of teams. There are tennis teams. There are just two there. But there has to be more than one to make a team. And they have to act as one. That's the catch. The word team originally referred to two horses in one yoke. They called that a team of horses because they had to act as one in that yoke. The key is plurality in unity. More than one acting as one. No unity, no team, just players. Now, maybe we could just stop there and let us all take a look. We might need to do some homework as to our team. It's highly probable that many of us would need to. When I was in high school, I studied various classes, but one, I took agriculture. I was in a small community, and I had an ag teacher, and he wanted a quartet. He couldn't sing himself, but he just thought it would be good for our FFA, Future Farmers of America Club, to have a quartet and compete. And so what he did, he went among the students and picked 4 guys and said, be a quartet. Now there was a problem. 2 of the 4 really were not very good singers. 1 of the 4 couldn't ever get on key. So there wasn't any harmony there, and needless to say, the quartet didn't go very far. It was very frustrating because 2 were pretty good singers. But you just can't go out and pick a collection of people and say, be a team. It doesn't happen that way. A modern definition of team would be players with different skills acting together. I was impressed with the University of Florida winning the basketball championship, NCAA, 2 years in a row, and winning the National Football Championship. That's quite a feat. I think that probably most sports people would agree that they didn't necessarily have the best players. They had good players. But what they had was the best team. They consistently played together. The coach said they were unselfish, speaking of the basketball team. Same was true of the football team. Now, let me just tell you, I'm not from the state of Florida, and the team that I often support is a very almost bitter competitor with Florida. But the fact is, even opposition has to respect when team accomplishes something. But building a team, that's something else. Let's look at this. How do we build a team? Well, one thing we need to do is make the common purpose clear. You can't have a team if everybody doesn't know what they're trying to accomplish. As a matter of fact, anybody who's not clearly committed to the common purpose should never be on the team. If somebody is basically a self-seeker and interested in self-glory, I don't think you should invite them on. As a matter of fact, get rid of them if they are on it. Second suggestion would be to develop each player. That is, work individually with each member of the team. The team is no stronger than its weaknesses. So you want to do everything in your power to strengthen the weaknesses of every team member. Sooner or later, opposition finds out your weaknesses, and they will stop going for your strong points and go for your weak points. And weaknesses will always be revealed. And so you need to spend your time as a leader developing the skills of your people, if possible, on a personal level for your top leadership. Because I believe there needs to be a connection and motivation. Develop your players, develop the members of your team, strengthen the weaknesses, and enable the people who are the stronger to relate to people who are just getting stronger. Do the drills, do the practice, find ways of repeating behavior until it's automatic. That means a person has to be willing to work. I think I quoted in an earlier session, Lombardi said that he was looking for people that were willing to work. Well, we all are, because without the work, the consistent work, then it doesn't really become part. I remember running drills when I played football in high school, and there was no opposition there. We just ran, and we ran the same play over and over until every person knew exactly what they were to do. And, you win games if you have great drills, usually. But if you have sloppy practice, you'll have sloppy games. I remember reading Jack Nicklaus' discussion of his practice. And they're pro golfers that hit 1,000 practice shots each day. And he said he tried to make every shot just right. I thought it's so easy when you're hitting them over and over again. Well, just to kind of be a little sloppy. But if you don't concentrate and make that habit every time, then you lose that edge. It takes a work ethic, a commitment. Another thing is build trust among the members of the team. The team has to trust each other. There needs to be openness and honesty. You can't have a team where members are blaming each other. They need to be open and honest with one another and trust one another. And the stronger that trust gets, the more they're willing to share the responsibility instead of taking all to themselves or putting it all on somebody else. Teach accountability. Members need to accept evaluation and advice, criticism. If they're not willing to accept evaluation and advice, then they're not really ready to be on a team. Think of the unaccountable players that you've heard of on various clubs and how much damage they do to the team, not only to morale, but they let the team down in lots of different ways. They turn the spotlight away from victory to personality. And people who are not willing to be accountable long term, they're going to hurt you. Another thing is teach communication skills. People need to be clear in what they say. They don't need to get close to the truth. They need to get clear. They don't need to waste words. It's important that people know how to say exactly what they want to do and do exactly what they said. That way people know what to expect from them. They're on the same page together. A quarterback and a receiver, they call it being on the same page. Have you ever watched a receiver run a different route and the quarterback looked bad, but someone would say he ran the wrong route? The quarterback was expecting him to turn left, he turned right, or he did a hook, and, well, the pass went astray. Makes the quarterback look bad, makes the whole team look bad, and in a crisis, it can lose the game because somebody wasn't listening or somebody wasn't speaking. And until the truth is conveyed, there's really no communication. Teach communication skills. It's great to have somebody come in with your team and talk about how to talk to each other and how to sign off, how to say, yes, I got it, how to give feedback. Well, another issue is shared glory. It's important that the team understands that the glory belongs to everybody. Personal glory seekers cause division. So it's great when the team gets the credit. And believe me, they will in failure or success. Casey Stengel said one time after a loss to his players, this was a team effort. No one player could have done all this by himself. Well, that's true. How many times have you come down to the end and you saw one shot win or lose a game? But people who understand know that one play doesn't win or lose a game. It may look like it, but there were lots of shots before that. And it might have been, a missed shot back up the road that would have counted just as much. The fact is, it is a consistent team effort that wins games. How can we build teams? Well, one thing I would suggest is learn from other people. The best coaches learn from other coaches. They go to coaching clinics themselves. They read the books that other coaches write. It's important to learn from other people who are doing what you do basically. We don't need to be so proud that we can't learn from others. Develop successful associations with successful people. Be humble enough to hear what they have to say. When I was in high school, I played football. I was too small for college, among other problems. But I enjoyed playing high school football, and I had some success. And one of my problems was blocking guys that were bigger than me. I played left guard, which is a pretty tough position because you're in there with guys that like to knock heads, and usually they're pretty big guys. I wasn't that big. And I talked to my coach about it, and he gave me a simple little step that gave me leverage on a bigger player. And on one occasion, I played against a guy that outweighed me 100 pounds. And I was able to play against him successfully. We won the game and the county championship. But it was something that he told me that made the difference for me. I tried to share this with a man who was competing for the very same position I was playing. He, in fact, was a senior. I was a sophomore. And I said, look, Coach showed me this, and he stopped me. He said, I don't need to hear what you've got to say. Well, unfortunately, Coach overheard it. The problem with this guy was he couldn't learn from anybody else. And so he didn't make the first team. Develop successful associations with successful people. Listen to what they have to say. Your best information comes from networking with friends. People are a conduit of information. And now we have a lot of information at our fingertips, but usually what friends will give you is information that has some proof to it, that's been tested in some way, or it's a result of their experience. Just to give you an illustration, my wife suffers from cancer. And you can imagine we have looked for every possible cure that we can find. And we've had some success in treating her, though it is not gone. A friend of mine called me and told me about a particular physician who was doing a particular type treatment. We followed this advice. She has endured her treatment much better since we followed it, and we're learning other things. It seems to me right now that she's actually improving. But it came through a friend that I don't talk to, haven't heard from in a little while, but he heard about the situation. He called. There are all kinds of things that come to us, whether it's diet or medical help or economic issues or where to invest. Treat your network with respect. They're going to help you to build your team. Get outside criticism. Let somebody else come in and look at what you're doing. Jim Rohn, who's one of my favorite teachers, says, feedback is the breakfast of champions. Feedback Get feedback. Don't forget your past lessons. You can forget the pain of it all, but don't forget the lesson. Don't waste former anxiety. Let it be fertilizer for the future. Well, don't forget your goals. Aim for the Super Bowl. Aim for the World Series. The sky is the limit. But remember, to get there, and I hope you do, you got to build in the right way. Tall buildings have deep foundations. Good teams are deep. Learn how to handle winning and losing. You're going to do some of both. Be humble in victory, resolute in defeat. You can go from worst to first if you'll do the right things. If you'll keep on learning, it can happen. You know, the Bible itself says a lot about teams. 1 Corinthians 12 says we're members of one body. We're many, but one. Ephesians 4 teaches that the aim is unity in diversity. David's mighty men in the Old Testament all came, the Bible says, with one purpose: to make David king. That was his team. Your success and mine lies in building a team where various skills work as one to achieve a common goal. Be successful. Timeout is over, and this ain't no game.
For more information on Time Out with Coach or CSM, please visit www.csmpublishing.org.